Ahead tonight, emotional testimony taking place today in the Kofi Goodman murder trial.
Plus, a body pulled from waters at Long Wharf this morning.
And the home of a community activist goes up in flames. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kendino Knowles.
And I'm Charisma Robinson. Always good to have you joining us tonight.
Topping the news, the mother of murder victim Marco Archer telling jurors about the events that unfolded the last time she saw her 11-year-old son alive.
38-year-old Kofi Goodman is accused of killing Archer back in September of 2011. Fern Carey is following the trial and tells us more.
The mother of Marco Archer giving an emotional testimony, telling jurors about the final moments she spent with the son back in September of 2011. The mother of alleged murder victim Marco Archer, Trifina Meadows, couldn't hold back the tears as she recalled that on Friday, September 23rd of 2011, she told Marco she wanted him to go to Milo Butler's store to buy a can of Baygon spray. Meadows said Marco used the bathroom first because he had a loose stomach and came out a short while later with only his boxers on. She then asked him about his underpants and was told that it was wet. However, he said he was ready to go. That's when she said she gave him a shirt and told him to put his school pants back on and a pair of slippers. She then gave him $5 and he went to the store, returning a short while later with the Baygon and her change. She said she told the 11-year-old he was a good boy because he had not taken any of her change, and he responded that he hadn't taken any of the change because he didn't see anything he wanted. However, Meadows said a short while later, her son said he had a quarter and asked for another because he wanted to go to the shop across the street. Seconds later, Meadows said he left but came running back to put the laptop on charge. She then told him to hurry back because it was going to rain. Seconds later, Meadows said it rained heavily, and when Marco did not return, she said she thought her son was waiting for the rain to hold up because she had told him not to come home in the rain. However, when the 11-year-old did not come home, Meadows said she walked out to the front of the yard and looked across the road to the shop and called Marco, but she did not see him. As a result, she said she put a towel on her head and went to the shop without shoes and asked the lady in the store if she had seen a little boy in khaki brown pants, a gray Bob Marley shirt and slippers. But the lady said she hadn't. She then became extremely emotional when she was called on to identify the gray Bob Marley shirt, the slippers, the plaid boxer shorts, and the brown khaki brown pants Marco was wearing. She told jurors she gave birth to Marco when she was 40 years old, and Marco was not just her son, but her friend, and that they went everywhere together. The trial continues. Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.
Jurors in the Jamie Smith coroner's inquest learning more about the events that transpired before he ended up dead in police custody back in February.
Jimmy Swain was at the coroner's court today and fills us in on the latest details.
Officers testifying Wednesday in the coroner's inquest into the death of Jamie Smith. 36-year-old Smith died in police custody back in February. A pathologist report linked his death to lack of oxygen. Sergeant Smith, along with another officer, collected Matthew Pratt, also known as Jamie Smith, from the holding cell for questioning on February 8. He was taken to the General Inquiry Section to the office of Inspector Ezra Maycock to be questioned in connection with the attempted armed robbery of an ICS armored truck. Smith told the court that Pratt was seated facing the door as he outlined to him the facts and surveillance footage they had linking him to the case. He testified that Pratt told him, quote, "I will tell you everything, but I ain't signing nothing." Smith said Pratt told him that he and several men attempted to rob the armored truck, but one of the security officers closed the door and a shootout erupted. In the chase that ensued, 2 men were shot. At the end of the interview, Smith said Pratt refused to sign the statement. Smith said Pratt cursed and said he was not going to jail for the persons trying to blame him for that crime. The officer said Pratt had a dazed look on his face, then he got up violently and bolted for the door. At this point, he said Inspector Makeup grabbed Pratt around his waist in an attempt to subdue him, and a struggle ensued between the two men. Smith said he attempted to grab Pratt's feet as he was kicking to get free. He said Corporal 1207 Roach ran in to assist and put Pratt in a headlock. Smith said Pratt shouted, "Cheapy or kill me because I ain't going to jail." He said Pratt continued to struggle violently, but he eventually calmed down enough to be handcuffed. He said Pratt still looked dazed, but he sat up, placed both hands on his face, and said again he couldn't go back to jail. Next, Smith said Pratt's hands dropped from his face and he appeared to be staring at the floor. He called out to him twice, but he was unresponsive. Smith said the struggle lasted all of 5 minutes. Attorney Wayne Monroe in his cross-examination only asked the officer why they did not just shoot Pratt after he attempted to escape custody. Smith responded that the area was confined and they felt that they could control Pratt. He said no one threatened or abused Pratt and he made no complaints. Another officer is expected to take the stand on Thursday at 11 a.m. to give his version of the events leading up to the victim's death. Chimnita Swain, ZNS Network News.
The body of an elderly man was pulled from waters at Long Wharf early this morning. The man, believed to be in his late 60s or early 70s, was reportedly fishing or swimming in the area when he reportedly drowned. When our news team arrived, the Defense Force had already retrieved the body and paramedics were also on the scene. We're told that the victim's black truck was also parked along the wharf. Now, a small group of onlookers gathered, and a man who did not want to be on camera said the victim frequented the area.
For a few good years, from the time I used to work the Iraqi, I was always coming out to fishing. He comes out here and fishing also, but I just don't know what's going on this morning with him. I never know that he's a drinker or he's a father or nothing like that. It's so bad, man. I don't believe it, because he always would buy me whatever I want, or if I need a dollar or two, he gives it to me. It's sad to see what happened to him this morning.
This incident has prompted residents to call for a lifeguard in such areas.
Out Junkanoo Beach in Iraq, we need lifeguards out here too, man. And that our own kind of, for us to look out for our own kind too. Not just for the tourism who supporting us, but with a lifeguard out here, that's their job to look out for the tourism. And that
A fire in the Black Village and Heritage Lane area has left a community activist homeless tonight. This morning, Rodney Munker said he received a phone call from a neighbor telling him that his home was engulfed in flames. LaDon Davis visited the scene and talked to Munker about the entire ordeal.
It was around 4 a.m. this morning when residents here in the Black Village area were awakened by balls of smoke emanating from this blue and white wooden structure belonging to civil activist Rodney Munker. Now, Mr. Munker told ZNS News what really happened.
Everything appears to have been destroyed. I believe it is arson. It cannot be electrical because my electricity has been off from about October 27, 2011. So we can rule out the possibility of it being electrical. I genuinely believe that arson is at work, and so I would hope that the police would conduct a thorough investigation.
The civil rights activist and justice of the peace has been living in the wooden 3-bedroom home for some 13 years now, and while he has not been able to save anything, he says he had a gut-wrenching feeling that this incident would happen.
I have not been sleeping home with regularity in the last couple of months because of certain perceived threats. Among them was a threat to burn the house down. About a year or so ago, there was an attempt at burning here. And prior to that, my office located just about 170 feet to the west. That was destroyed by fire. In fact, I think it was burnt at least 6 times.
While Munker believes that's one too many fires, he has now beefed up his precautionary measures and plans to take his wife into hiding at the residence of family and friends. Now, in the meantime, Mr. Munker says he awaits a fire services report, which is expected to be completed by week's end. LaDon Davis, ZNS Network News.
Now, yesterday evening, firefighters spent several hours fighting a bushfire in the Imperial Park area near Salinden Pinling Estates. Director of Fire Services Superintendent Walter Evans says, fortunately, they were able to contain the fire before it spread to nearby homes.
We've had a few challenges in regard to gaining access because it was a very, very huge area. There were no roads, and there were no road access, and so we've had to seek the assistance of a good citizen of Mr. Roll, who's here, and he was able to assist with his backhoe to assist us in terms of gaining some access.
Mr. Evans says his team is still faced with some challenges at the city dump, as that fire has not been extinguished. Scrap metal scavengers have been blamed for that blaze, which started 3 weeks ago.
Police Force Fire Services, along with resources from the Department of Environmental Health, are still combating that fire. It's a deep-seated fire. It's not a surface burning fire as many may think, and it is not one where you can have drops of rain or even a good shower that may be able to extinguish that fire. That is burning deep below, just not 2 or 3 feet. You perhaps may be burning as deep as 5 to 6 feet, and so heavy-duty machines are being used there, along with the strategies that are being deployed. And so within the next few days, we believe that fire will be extinguished.
Unbanked Bahamians are set to benefit from a program being offered by transfer solutions providers Mango. TSP is committed to bringing the economic advantages of an efficient, cash-free environment to those who do not have access to basic financial services. The Inter-American Development Bank has approved a grant for more than $300,000 to assist TSP with its new project. Both parties signed off on the grant today.
Of this project coincide very closely with the bank's development strategy with the Bahamas. In that, we are committed with the Bahamas to supporting the private sector through an institution, in this case Mango, that will reduce the gap between the financing needs of the population and the supply of financial products and services, specifically as it regards credit services for low-income people in the Bahamas. And so this funding, this program will develop or help to expand an innovative microcredit product. Who are the beneficiaries of the program? The project will benefit approximately 2,500 recipients of financial education, including 1,000 new loan clients, as well as 2 Mango staff members. The indirect beneficiaries will include approximately 9,500 existing Mango customers.
Mango's Chief Financial Officer Harvey Moore says this pilot project will take about 20 months and will involve consumer education. Data from this program is expected to be used by financial institutions so that more people can have access to financial capital.
Looking to expand into new areas of credit, and as a result we came upon this idea of developing a risk rating system that will help us to determine what we can expect from the credits we will advance. That is comparative to a bank today. When you go into a bank, they use certain criteria to screen their clients. This product will help us to do that.
You know, a first look at what a summer-like weather will experience throughout the islands, with some cloudiness developing now in the southeast Bahamas. But outside of our studios just now, we have just a few clouds, temperature 79 degrees, your relative humidity 66%, winds out of the east-southeast at 6 knots, your barometric pressure 1,018.4 millibars, that's 30.07 inches, and it is steady. But stay tuned, temperatures around the Farming Islands, travel and boating forecast is still to come.
Still to come, hear what a former cabinet minister has to say about the country's power company.
And who will be the next BTC star maker? Stay with us. The Bahamas Tonight continues in a moment.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Shell Helix Ultra. Performance you can see.